Hello everyone and welcome to episode 23 of the Dragon Radar podcast. We are your hosts, Heeroh and Ajoten. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well. Good and ready to get going.
Me too, and I'll just say now, this episode is going to be filled with spoilers from the new superhero film. So if you don't want to be spoiled, look away now, but you're going to be spoiled by the title of this episode anyway, so don't worry about it too much. But yeah, let's jump into it and let's get started with Roshi's rant.
Let's go.
This is Roshi's Rant.
So this is Roshi's Rant, the first segment of the podcast where we deep dive into a particular topic regarding Dragon Ball. And this week, spoiler alert, we are talking about the new film, Dragon Ball Superhero. And more specifically, we're talking about the big orange boy himself, Piccolo. And how
no longer big green boy, it's big orange boy.
He's big orange now, not big green anymore. So yeah, we're talking about him and more specifically how he measures up against other people. How strong is Orange Piccolo? Because we've seen in the film, he gets his new form where he gets a little bit bigger, quite literally and muscularly, and he gets a defined jawline as well. But yeah, he gets a power up as well with that, and we're going to discuss just how strong he is now.
Yes, because for those of you who may not have seen our review video, it is worth pointing out that we may or may not have actually seen the Japanese version of the film.
Yeah, go check out that video if you haven't already as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we've actually seen the Orange Boy in all of his glory,
mm-hmm.
And we've seen his full fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now he pretty much unleashes quite a lot on the final boss, Max Cell.
Yeah, he does.
He absolutely annihilates when he fights against Gamma 2.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the entire film, Gamma 2 is handing it to him.
Yeah.
And once he becomes Orange Boy, he's nothing.
Yeah.
One shot Gamma 2.
Mm-hmm.
So this power ramp is
pretty big.
Yeah. It's huge for him. He's no longer just this little baby boy. Like, this allows him to start keeping up a little bit.
A lot of it. Not just a little bit, a lot of it.
Yeah, like if they keep this in the story, this means that he's a proper fighter in my eyes again.
Yeah.
He's not just one of the background boys like Tien and Yamcha and all that. He's now a viable fighter again in my eyes, definitely.
I think that they're definitely going to keep the form around.
Yeah.
It seems like he pretty much mastered how to use it within the film. Like you can turn it on and off again. So I think going forward, he will just be able to be like, bam, I'm orange now, let's go. And that's pretty much it. Which is good because Piccolo needed that something. The Saiyans keep getting new forms unlocked, which makes them stronger and stronger and stronger. It's about time Piccolo had something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think it's very important that obviously we have Gohan who unlocks these forms, which obviously we'll discuss later. He loses it because he doesn't fight and he has to re-earn it. However, our Orange Boy, he's constantly working on himself. So if he gets this, he's going to keep it because he, like Goku and Vegeta and everybody like that, his life is dedicated to martial arts and fighting. So he's not just going to lose this and accept it. He's going to look to master this and keep pushing this. So this is part of him now. So I would say canonically, this is going to be him going forward.
Yeah, plus it was given to him by Shenron. It wasn't even something he figured out. Like, he couldn't have figured it out himself. Shenron gave him this power-up.
It's an unlocked potential.
Yeah. It might be even more than that because Shenron says, like, I've gave you a little something extra. So it's more than just unlocked potential. So I don't think it's something that Piccolo could have got on his own, no matter how hard he trained. This has been wished to him.
It's a gift.
Yeah. And I don't think he would lose it now. But since it's been wished to him and he's in full control, it's definitely something that we will see a lot of going forward if they do ever do more super going forward.
And I think it was instrumental in the defeat of the final boss and the boss in the final villain. The final villain. He obviously didn't defeat Max Cell.
No.
Obviously, it was Mr. Blanco himself,
Mm.
but it had to be. However, without Piccolo, that wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah.
I would say. He was pretty much outright defeated by Max Cell, because that's what triggered Gohan's transformation. However, he held his own against an incredibly powerful enemy for a long time before eventually being defeated. And that's something to be... I don't think we could simply put it to say, oh, it's as strong as Super Saiyan 2 or something like that. It is way beyond that.
Yeah.
This is a powerful form. And I think this is... I don't think it reaches the levels of where you've got the Saiyans, but I don't think it's a Blue God stage. But like,
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know I don't think he could go up against Vegeta or Goku.
Potentially not. But also, I think he would be close. I think it would be close. Because, like,
I've seen the speed of it though.
Yeah, we haven't. But if we stick to power levels for a second, you know, in the Tournament of Power, Gohan is using his ultimate form for quite a while, and you know he's doing well. He's doing pretty good, but Piccolo is kind of keeping up with him even when Gohan's in ultimate. Obviously, he's not as strong as Gohan, but he's doing pretty well. He's keeping up with them. They're basically like the tag team of the Universal team, I guess, sticking together throughout the tournament, and they're doing well. And you know, we see Gohan relearn, I guess, kind of the Ultimate Gohan form, and he is still getting beat up by Max Cell. You know, it's not enough to defeat him. And Piccolo is also getting beat up by Max Cell. So it's making me think that maybe Piccolo is at least on level with Ultimate Gohan in this new form. Potentially. Or at least he's on form, well, on par with how Gohan was in the Tournament of Power.
Yeah.
So I think it's a decent upgrade.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's past all levels of Super Saiyan, definitely.
Yeah.
Like all yellow forms, like 3, 2, 3, everything like that. I think it dwarfs them. I think because Max Cell was strong. Yeah, that was a strong... That like Gotenks couldn't touch whatever Max Cell.
Yeah, technically it was Fat Gotenks who doesn't have the same power level as like proper full power Gotenks, but yeah.
But 18 is very, very strong.
Yeah.
And she was doing nothing.
Yeah.
18 was a key player in the Tournament of Power, and she was doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And she wasn't tickling him or anything like that. And obviously you've got the thing is, what I'm thinking back is we haven't seen. I'm thinking of what I saw is you didn't see a fast fighter in Piccolo. The Piccolo that we saw was just this hulking mass of a fighter. He's obviously strength. We didn't see any direct speed. However, Broly, in the Broly film, he didn't seem particularly fast. He seemed to rely on key strength. Because obviously one of the reasons that Gogeta, like when he was up against Gogeta was using a lot of speed to fight him. Obviously Gogeta outmatched him in strength anyway, but a lot of what Broly relied on prior to that was strength, and Broly was battering everyone prior to that. I'm not saying that Piccolo is strong as Broly, by the way, just to get that clear. But it just shows that just because they're fast in the Super Saiyan God doesn't necessarily mean that they're automatically going to win. I think you can rely on strength quite a lot to carry you quite far, because Piccolo, I think, from this new form relies a lot on strength rather than speed. I think he definitely loses a lot of his speed.
It might be controversial to say. I've just been thinking, because I know I said that he might be on par with Ultimate Gohan. I think there's a chance he's stronger than Ultimate Gohan in this form, because if you class the two Gammas, Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, as equal power level, you see Gohan in his Ultimate form. Yes, he hasn't trained for a while, so yes, he is a bit weaker than usual when he's in the form, but he does manage to take out Gamma 1 in the fight, but it's not like a cut and dry fight, it's back and forth, there's a bit of action going on, they are fighting, it is a battle, and Gohan does come out on top, but he doesn't just turn Ultimate and then that's it, he wins. No, it's still a bit of a fight. But whereas when Piccolo turns orange against Gamma 2, it's no longer a fight, it's an instant win.
Yeah, it's one shot. No, yeah, actually, that's a very good point. It's a fight before he wins. He keeps up. Gamma 1 keeps up and is then defeated.
Yeah.
So no, that's very true.
Yeah. So because I wouldn't say, like, you can't really, well, we don't really know the exact power levels of the two Gammas, but you could easily say they're probably about the same.
It would be very strange for Dr. Heeroh to make them different.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes zero sense.
They've got different personalities, yes, but I think power level wise, they're probably the same.
Why would he make one weaker than the other?
Exactly. Yeah. But when Piccolo turns orange, it's like no longer are Gamma 2's punches affecting him, so he can obviously withstand a lot more damage, and one punch just wipes him out, pretty much. So
he can no longer stand. He's comically done. He's in the ground, can no longer stand.
Yeah. So based on the one fight with, well, I guess there's two fights in the film, but the one fight of the two kind of working side by side fighting, equal level opponents, it's arguable that Orange Piccolo is stronger than Ultimate Gohan at the minute.
Out of shape Ultimate Gohan, yeah. And I suppose that's been demonstrated in the film. Out of shape Ultimate Gohan. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's been shown. Yeah. But in terms of what we saw prior to the Tournament of Power, we saw Gohan go up against Goku, and it kind of, Goku beat Gohan outright. It was an interesting fight. It was an interesting fight, but he didn't win.
No.
Goku was always going to win that fight. Gohan got some hits in, but it was never going to go in Gohan's favor. He got a couple, and I think that will be the case. I don't think Orange Piccolo. I just love that name. I don't think he's to the level where he's keeping up with these two, Vegeta and Goku. I don't think he's at that level yet. I think he's going to be very viable in a fight these days, but I don't know how he can progress it. That's what I want to know, is how can he progress it from here? Can he power up?
I mean, I guess it is a potential unlocked form. So does that mean he hasn't hit the limit of his potential? It's just increased, I guess. Does that mean he can continue training to become stronger? I guess so. There's no real limit.
Yeah, because obviously we've got the Saiyans have unlocked Blue, and then they've become stronger. They've then increased the strength of Blue. Can he then do that with Orange? Can he increase the strength of ones? I don't see why he can't, but can he then ramp up the power of Orange?
Yeah, if Piccolo just remembers his techniques, he remembered how to turn big. So, if he just trains that, a giant form that's also a lot stronger, if he focuses on, his giant form, that could be a real threat. Because
I would be interested
he never
to
uses
see
it.
like multiple forms and stuff like that.
Yeah, the multiform technique, he knows how to do that as well. Him and Tien are the only ones who really utilize it. But he never uses the multiform technique anymore either. So
I wouldn't say that's true. He used it when he was training with Gohan. He used it when against Frost.
Yeah,
I think he's actually used it a little bit more recently.
Fair enough.
You've seen it. Twice in Super? Yeah, we've seen it twice in Super.
Yeah, fair enough. But imagine 10 Orange Piccolos.
Terrifying.
I know
absolutely
that
terrifying.
Yeah, I know that the multiform technique like halves your power level for every copy, but if there's 10 of them or even 4 of them, the power level is already huge. So 4 of them, would 4 Orange Piccolos be stronger than 1 normal Piccolo? Maybe.
I mean, even 2, like even just 1 as a distraction would be a lot to deal with because he's very strong. Just 1 to catch your eye and then 1 strike from a very, very buff Piccolo would be something to deal with. I think it's a huge ramp. I just wonder how fast he is. I think speed is going to be a big issue because this is something that they've addressed previously in Dragon Ball quite a lot. And Vegeta's called out Trunks about it quite a lot, as recently as the Goku Black arc. So it's not something they've forgotten about. Is the super bulky Super Saiyan 2 form?
Yeah.
So they are very aware of bulky forms slowing characters down. So it depends. But we don't know how fast it is. And will it? It depends how tanky, I suppose, like how defensive it allows him to be.
Yeah.
How reliant he is on that strength.
It's always a bit of a shame when a film comes out because although I love the film and I love the Broly film as well, it's like there's so many questions and I wonder what will happen next and blah blah blah, and it's like, just make the show, damn it! Just do another series instead. Like, I want to see more of this. Like, a film is great, but I want to see more.
Yeah, like the thing is, like, we've only seen it in Japanese, and again, me and Heeroh, we don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
So whilst there may have been a little bit more context, all we know is he called it Orange Piccolo because he doesn't play games, and then all he did is crushed Gamma's jaw.
I want to see like a full arc of Piccolo doing multiple fights in the orange form, see everything he can do with it. We've been teased, or we haven't been teased, we've been shown it, but not enough of it. I want to see more.
The thing is, we're not going to see him training with Gohan because Gohan's going to go back to being Gohan. He's not going to embrace Blanco. He's not going to. Don't kid yourself. He's not going to do it.
I mean, you say that, but the whole arc of the film was Piccolo trying to convince Gohan to train because Goku and Vegeta aren't always going to be around for a threat. Now that that's been proven, is Gohan not going to think, actually, you're right, if there is a threat and they're not around, maybe I do need to train a bit just to be in shape for if something happens?
He literally said he was going to do this at least twice.
True.
He's actually said these words at least twice.
Yeah, but maybe this is it, because his kid was in danger.
He said it for the Tournament of Power. It's my dream to unlock a new form. And then he went and researched bugs.
Yeah,
like he
this
didn't.
Is the same ant that he found.
Yeah. And after Frieza Saga, he was like, I couldn't protect the people I love or whatever. So to protect the people I love, I need to train.
This is true.
Do it. Like he says it all the time and he doesn't do it. I love Gohan a bit, but it's just not who Gohan is.
You do have a point. You do have a point. But you never know. Maybe there's potential.
Third time's the charm, eh?
Yeah.
He's probably said it a third time and I'm forgetting. But
oh, God.
I can't see it happening. I think he'll pull it out when he needs it. Like he has twice before.
And this is why we need more show to find out what happens next. There's always a what's next with films.
However, at the end, he seemed to have mastery over Blanco pretty much straight away. He turned it off like that. He didn't have control over it.
But maybe it's a one-time thing though. Like, he needs to be at full rage mode to unlock it. And yes, he can control it while it happens and turn it off, but he can't just like snap into it again. It needs to be something major to make him turn into that. Like, it's not like Super Saiyan where he can just go click, boom, I'm Super Saiyan now. It's like he can't just turn it on.
Yeah.
Might be one of those, which would be interesting. I think that would be a bit unique because all forms, it seems like once they've been used, it's like, right, now we can just do it whenever. But it would be nice since he doesn't train. It would be like, I can't just turn it on. Like, something big needs to, I can't just use it.
I think he's literally the main one who's. I think, obviously, Ultra Instinct is the one where he can't. Goku can't. And Gohan forgets because he never uses it. So he's super smart and everything like that, but only when it comes to books and bugs. He just forgets with everything else. But yeah, Ultra Instinct and Gohan with his seems to be the ones where they struggle the most. The rest seems to be they just have ultra mastery over it. So if he forgets how to use this blank, well, I don't know if he at the end, as of the end of the film, if he does have full mastery over it, but he seemed to be able to control it straight away because he immediately turned it off when Pan shouted at him. He was just chatting away with Piccolo with his super lightning hair, like, super spiky. And then he just immediately turned it off when she shouted at him. Like, he didn't have to concentrate or anything. So does that mean that he could have turned it straight back on if he wanted to? Had Cell not been dead and he just thought he was? Like,
potentially. I guess getting back to Piccolo.
Yeah.
And the power levels. Let's do a quick rundown. So, would he be able to beat Frieza?
So, no.
See,
because I don't think God, Super Saiyan Blue God, can easily beat Frieza. Yeah. So I don't think he could beat Frieza.
Yeah.
No,
I think it would be a closer fight though than people actually think. I think that Frieza would beat him, but I think it would be a pretty close fight. I think it could go either way, but I do think Frieza would edge it.
Yeah, maybe. I think he would get hit. I think Frieza would underestimate him, but then Frieza would just be like, "Right, I'm done with this now." Like, I think he would definitely underestimate him, and then Piccolo would get some serious hits in, and then Frieza would get sick, and then ruin him.
Yeah, because you mentioned the Super Saiyan Blue, but when they're not messing around, like we've seen in the Resurrection F film, when they're not messing around, they can just dominate and finish him straight away. He's not a threat.
But Frieza's powered up since then. Like, as a tournament of power, there's been a very big difference. Like, if you think of when they met up, when they revived, Goku and Frieza went up against each other when Frieza was alive but not alive again, and he could basically control the Hakai.
Yeah.
And they went up against each other, and basically they were pretty much even matched almost.
That's true.
He's much stronger than he was in the Resurrection F. He's essentially like almost like as strong as Goku at that time.
Yeah.
So he was much stronger as a Resurrection F.
Okay, fair enough.
Resurrection F Frieza, I would say yes. He was stronger. Yeah. But Frieza that we know now, no.
Okay, fair enough. Since I'm aware of time for this segment, I don't want to make it too long. Let's just run through a few other people. Android 17. Would Orange Piccolo be able to defeat Android 17?
Rematch.
Yeah. I think this is more of an interesting one.
I don't know because of the abilities. It's the abilities to make it the difference.
Exactly. But
I don't know.
18 didn't really do anything to sell Max. But she also wasn't involved in the fight for too long.
I think it could be 18. I don't know 17. 17's very clever. 17. I think 17's a better fighter than 18.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say maybe on par with 17. but they could have 18.
Yeah, which is already just a massive thing that you would be able to beat 18, because 18, I would say 18 was stronger than Piccolo before this, definitely.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, already a massive increase if we're saying, yeah, you'd be able to defeat 18 easy.
Yeah. Like, you could beat people like Ribrianne in that, I think. No.
Yeah.
Which you couldn't have done previously.
Yeah. How about Topo? I think, again, really? Just straight up no?
Not a god of destruction. Not as a god of destruction. Because he was battering Freezer in that. Not a chance.
Yeah. Fair enough. I think if he went up against Jiren, he still wouldn't win, but...
He'd get ruined. No, he'd get absolutely ruined. Not a chance. Not a chance. Yeah, I don't think he'd stand a chance. He's stronger than Goku in that, like, so no.
I mean, I get it, but also at the end of the Tournament of Power, Goku wasn't UI, and him, 17, and Frieza together just charged him and took him out.
I don't know if that was a writing thing. Like,
yeah,
like there's a they were talking about Blue God and stuff for the most of it, and they were talking about power levels then, like in the film, saying that they were only a little bit. Jiren was only a little bit stronger than their Blue God forms, and we saw that Jiren was tearing them apart. And no, I think you would get absolutely ruined by Jiren.
Yeah,
He's a better fighter as well. He's just a better fighter. So no.
Fair enough. Two final people I want to mention. Boo. Is he stronger than Boo? I'm gonna say no. I think
stronger. He'd lose.
Yeah, I think Boo is stronger than literally pretty much everyone.
What?
I think Boo's pretty much stronger than everyone. I think in a fight.
I thought you said he's stronger than Boo.
No.
Old.
I think Boo is one of the strongest, but I think just because Piccolo's smart, he would be able to deal with Boo pretty well. It's just
I think he'd lose to Boo.
Yeah, but like his stretchy arms, Boo can also stretch, so they won't be able to hold him in place like Piccolo would be able to with pretty much anyone else. So one of his biggest things he kind of can't use against Boo.
Yeah, no, he just lose to Boo straight up.
Yeah,
not a chance.
And then final person, future Trunks.
Oh, he'd have Trunks. He'd have Trunks all day.
Really? Just straight up?
Yeah, straight up. Not a problem.
Even at the end of the future Trunks saga, when he's got the Sword of Light, he wipes out Zamasu.
It's by rage. It's a one-off.
Yeah,
it's a one-off ability that he won't get back. I don't think he can call on that on will. I don't. That's like that Spirit Bomb is Spirit Sword. I think he could only call as a result of his rage.
Yeah, that entire Rage Trunks form though, where he loses his pupils completely and it's just white eyes.
But I think again, I think he's. I don't think. Nah, I think he could have him. Even if at that power level, I think it was the sword that did the damage. It wasn't necessarily him himself.
Yeah, I guess so. But also, the sword is technically just a key control. So if the key didn't go into the sword, it would go into a blast or something else instead. So does it really make a difference?
I think that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
I say his. I just don't think he has it in him, Trunks, to take out Piccolo. No. As this beast, like that's like saying that I just don't. I think like Ultimate Gohan and that could take Rage Trunks and stuff still. Like I still think he's
true.
To take.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, we've discussed quite a lot about Piccolo.
Yeah,
and his orange form.
Very orange, and we think he's strong.
Yeah, and bonus Gohan content as well. So, yeah, this has been a bit of a longer segment, but yeah, let's move on now to the Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
And now it is time for the Hall of Fame.
And now it's time for the Hall of Fame, where myself and Heeroh go up against each other to see who is most worthy to enter this week.
Mm-hmm.
So, last week, it was who is most worthy for their own best solo film. And you chose Tien, whilst I chose Piccolo.
Yeah.
And you have the results.
I do have the results, and we have the biggest upset so far on the Hall of Fame. It's an absolute travesty, but it makes sense. But the winner, with 94% of the vote, is Piccolo. So congratulations, and your wish was granted straight away. Shenron, we got Shenron, and the wish happened with Super Hero.
We've got, well...
So
I suppose it's fitting for the time period, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we should have done this topic a while earlier, and maybe the vote would have been a bit different, but with the trailers and everything, I'm guessing people were hyped for Piccolo being a star in a film anyway, so extra votes there, but people love Piccolo.
It was just in the back of people's minds. They can't.
It was. Yeah. Anyway, that's, what, is that 4 in a row for you now?
Catching up.
You're closing in on the streak I had, but 2 more.
Suffering, to be fair. I was really suffering.
Yeah.
I had to turn it around.
Yeah. But anyway, what is the topic for this week?
Yes, so it is worth stating in advance that obviously with the new film, we're going to go with a spoiler subject. Mm-hmm. So, warning in advance.
Yeah.
Run away now.
But subscribe before you leave.
Yes, of course, as we've sneakily seen the film. Maybe. We're going with the best moment from the new film. So,
since you won, you got to go first. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen the film. It does actually feel like they've done a solo film for Piccolo already.
Yeah, it was announced by. I read this today. Actually, it was announced by. It wasn't Toriyama, but one of the other guys who was like the main scriptwriter for the film. He said he was speaking to Toriyama about who should lead the film, and Toriyama was saying, "I want to set it on Earth, and I want Piccolo to be the lead." And that was it. He just wanted it to be a Piccolo film. And then, I can't remember his name, but this other writer said, okay, but can we also include Gohan? And then Toriyama was like, yeah, all right. So yeah, Toriyama really wanted it to just be a solo Piccolo film, and this other writer had to get Gohan included. And that's probably why the main focus is Piccolo, and Gohan is like the second lead. He's not the main. But yeah.
Brilliant. So basically, I knew. I magically knew.
Yeah.
Totally called me out.
Yeah.
See, that's what I got my wish.
You did.
My very own Shenron wish. But unfortunately, despite all that, for my moment, it is not a Piccolo moment. Yes, my moment is, of course, going to be the Gohan Blanco transformation,
as we will name it for now until the real name is revealed. But
yeah, until we get the English dub release, we're going with Blanco for now. Purely because Super Saiyan 2 Gohan in the Cell Saga is my favorite Gohan. He's one of my favorite transformations.
Not Saiyaman?
What? No. He looks very cool.
No,
but
I love Saiyaman. I can't say bad stuff about
him. And it just feels like that 2.0.
Yeah.
And I just love that they took that and they were just like, yes, have some more of it.
It was just a throwback. There was, I would even argue to say there wasn't anything unique about the transformation. It was fully just rehashed material, but span around into a new form.
But the thing is, it was so intentional that they did that to say that like it was, but it was clearly intentional because of how they had Piccolo say the exact same line to Gohan that Goku said to him. That he is the strongest of us, that basically they need him to unleash his power, and that he had to see someone that he cared about suffer to unlock, and you saw like the ping that of him of snapping, and it was literally like there was the same exact steps that led to him, and then it just clicked. And the transformation is every part of it is just the same. And it's just like, so you got like the flick of the hair, it's spiking back. Like, I'm not a fan, I'll be honest, for the transformation itself. I'm not a fan of the massive spiky back hair, but I like that they've kept the essence of the transformation, which is like the hair flick and stuff like that. So they've not made it this weird like they've done with Super Saiyan 3 for Goku, where it's like this weird thing all the way down. They've kept the relative essence of it, of Gohan's transformations. So they've kept who he is, and basically how when he did change, you saw the change. He becomes how it's exactly the same as he became, like he did against Cell. When he became against Cell, he went from what he was terrified of being. So he was this pacifist who was scared and or he was struggling, and he there was always an issue in his fight. And when he was against Cell, he just turned off, and you saw him just decimate the Cell Juniors with this just cold, dead face. And he basically did that against Cell Max, when Cell Max just attacked him, and he just caught the fist, and there was just nothing, and he was just like, and you just knew the fight was over. It was like, and it was like every single part of it. It was just like, yeah, this is it. This is just exactly what you needed. It was like, it took me back to when I was like a kid, and I got the original Gohan transformation.
Yeah,
and that's why I loved it so much. And I just thought, yeah, they've done it right. And it's like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like the hair. I don't like the bit of the hair, like just a bit of the back and everything like that. I like that, kept the essence at the front and everything. I like that they respected that, but it's like the transformation itself and how they did it, and how they like keep them blank and everything like that. And it took me back. They kept every single step perfect, where they were able to do that. And I think that if you can do that correctly, that's when you know you've done a transformation. That's when you've done a Dragon Ball transformation right. Because they're the moments in Dragon Ball that I'd never forgot. And I think because there've been so many transformations in Dragon Ball that there are some that are quite, I'm not gonna lie, there are so many that some of them you just don't really stand out, and like they're like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened.
Like
stuff.
God, being Red God.
Yeah, like Red God. Like I still remember it happening, but when you talk about all the ones that you truly remember, Red God is cool, but it's not one that like comes to memory like that.
No.
Whereas things like Super Saiyan 2 and that are one that remember, and this is one that I will always link back to because of how it's so similar to the Super Saiyan 2 one. It took me back, and that's what I want. That's the sort of one I want to see. Yeah, where it makes me feel something. It makes me think of something, and I was like, yes, that's when I have a transformation, I just go, yes. That's the sort of transformation I want. and obviously, when in the Beerus film on that, like I was watching, I was thinking, yeah, that's cool. I like that, but I didn't get any like true hype from it. I just thought this is really interesting. I think that's what I got. I thought it was really interesting because they had the mechanic around it and everything. Like you've got the 5 Saiyans and everything like that. It was like, it was really interesting and cool, but it was very hard to get hype. I got with Red God, the hype I got was when Vegeta did it. Yeah, because I saw him do it and he had the swirly cool and everything like that. But like that's just because it was fan service.
I mean, it could be a potential topic for a future podcast, but does Dragon Ball rely too much on nostalgia now? Because this transformation was just fully based on nostalgia, like doing the exact same speech the exact same reason for transforming, the same red beam across the eyes and stuff, just a new form. But yeah, I mean, I liked it as well, but I'm also still thinking, do I just like it because I remember the other transformation, or do I like this transformation for what it is?
Yeah. I mean, it's a fair point. And I think, because there are some brilliant points in the film, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a big fan of Piccolo's transformation as well. His was excellent as well. I mean, I've also got a backup that I haven't mentioned. Yeah. But I think it's just, I think when something hits me like that, I think I just can't not say it. Something that has a resonance with me, and if it takes me back to a part of my childhood, I can't not consider it one of the better moments. And I mean, sometimes nostalgia is something that should be recognized, and I'm happy with that. I think if they recognize that they should use it, that's fine. I mean, they obviously intentionally did it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a difference. I think there's sometimes difference between recycling and recognizing. And I think, like you say, it's probably a discussion for a different time in that regard. Because it's, I think there's intentionally going back to it and recycling. Yeah. And I think this was very intentional. Because they could have done it 1,000,001 ways.
Definitely.
But they were very intentional with the way how he was like dead behind the eyes and stuff like that. And like he doesn't like doing it. Like, we know he doesn't. He's a pacifist. He doesn't like fighting like that. He never has. That's not the Gohan we want. Piccolo throughout this entire film wanted Gohan to fight, wants Gohan to train. That's not who Gohan is. Like, the entirety of the film, weirdly enough, is Piccolo wanting him to fight. And Gohan doesn't want to fight.
Even when he realizes his daughter's kidnapped, he's like, I guess I got it now then.
And it's and this is what happens when he's forced to. He becomes this dead thing, really. It's like he becomes a monster, really, when you think about it. He, like in the original Cell games, he nearly got everybody killed because he embraced it, and he, like, Cell blew up because he was enjoying battering Cell. Like he's dangerous. So it's to say he's dangerous. He is dangerous in himself, and I think that's why I like it. Is because he becomes a different character. So to see him become that again is interesting, because we've not seen that Gohan in how long now? 20 years, something like that.
Maybe longer? Even slightly longer,
yeah. So to come back to that is very cool, and I liked it because it was like, there he is, because he's got control over these forms now. So to see it once again is like not necessarily recycling, because we've not seen it in so long. Yeah, he can use Saiyan 2 and stuff like that, but when he uses it, it doesn't impact in the same way it did in the Cell games, because you can control it. He's got that emptiness that he's always feared. And I like to see that again, because it's the Gohan that fears it, the pacifist fears. So I like it.
Fair enough. It's obviously a strong point, as it is one of the biggest moments in the film, so it is going to be hard to beat. But I'm putting up a fight anyway, because my pick is my personal favorite moment, because yes, I did like the transformation as well, but like I mentioned, it might just be because of the nostalgia. But my favorite moment, which audibly made me gasp, is the special beam cannon from Gohan to scalp Cell. He cleans the top of his head off and ends the fight, and I loved that, because, you know, like I meant, they were doing nostalgia throughout this fight with the transformation and stuff, and they really, really, really made it seem like he was going to finish this Max Cell off with the Kamehameha, just like he did to defeat Perfect Cell 20 plus years earlier. And I thought, does that mean we're just going to see a big beam struggle again to end the film? Is he just going to hit him with a Kamehameha and that's going to be how it ends, just like it did last time? Which would have been cool to see. It would have been, again, another throwback. But instead, he switches it up and uses his other dad's technique, using the special beam cannon instead. He's stealing all the moves, and I loved it.
Just like his dad.
Yeah, just like his
stealing
dad.
all the moves.
Yeah, but I loved it. I wasn't expecting it. I really, really wasn't. And it surprised me. It made me gasp. And I couldn't have been happier that he used it. Because I was like, finally, there's some... Like, Piccolo and Gohan have always been close throughout... Since Dragon Ball Z began. You know, because Piccolo trained him when he was a kid. And they've always been around each other. Piccolo is family to Gohan. You know, that was the whole thing. Like, Videl and Gohan... Well, Pan gave Piccolo a stuffed animal, and that's why he has a whole collection in his house, because Videl and Gohan thought he really liked it, but really he was just saying he liked it to Pan and make her happy. And that's why he's got a whole collection, because they kept giving him more and more.
Yeah, he actually hates them.
Yeah. But, yeah, that it shows how close they are, because Piccolo doesn't want to upset Pan, and he doesn't want to upset the whole family.
He's not going to do that for anybody else.
Yeah, he's collecting stuffed animals now just because he doesn't want to make them upset. So they're obviously close, and they always have been. And even in the Tournament Power, they were the tag team of the group. They stuck together to help each other out. And we finally seen Gohan kind of acknowledge that fully. Like, yes, they've always been close and they've fought side by side, but Gohan's actually used a technique of Piccolo's for the first time ever. He's never used a special beam cannon before, and he used it in the biggest moment to save everyone, to save the planet, because Max Cell was about to blow up the planet with his death ball above his head. And yeah, the move that Gohan chose to use was not his dad's move, but it was Piccolo's move. And I loved that. I really did. And that was my favourite moment of the film.
And you know what? I'm not going to offer a counterpoint at all, because if I was to lose to this point, I would be, and break my streak, I would be perfectly happy about it, because this was my second one.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved this moment. I thought it was, again, it was, if I could have continued my point, I didn't want, I thought it would have been cheeky of me to say, like, I would have basically say, oh, and then he transformed and he kept fighting and then he did this and then he used special beam cannon, because I basically would have took like the final 10 minutes of the film. So I thought I should probably just say the transformation. But yeah, the fact that he used that, especially in this film, because I think we mentioned in our spoiler review, my exact sense was this isn't a son family film. This is a mentor and student film, and it shows when they do that. They acknowledge that by saying that. I finally say, yeah, these are your boys.
Yeah.
And I just think, yeah, I think it's so important. And that I got chills from that. I did.
Me too.
And it's like, that's why it was my backup choice, because again, I got the throwback from the transformation, and that's why it was important to me. But no, the special beam cannon was very important as well. I thought it was brilliant.
Because, like I mentioned, those two moments were my favourite parts of the film. The transformation fully based on nostalgia, and I was really happy with it and stuff. But the special beam cannon was the moment where I was like, oh my god. I actually gasped a little bit, because I was like, I just wasn't expecting it, and that stands out to me more than the transformation, because we have seen the transformation before. And yes, it was nice to see again. But the special beam cannon, a first time, it was unexpected, and yeah, I loved it. I really did.
It truly was a brilliant moment. I think it was the perfect way to end the film.
Yeah, it was.
Perfect way to defeat the big bad. I think it was so much better than using Masengo. It was so much better than using the Kamehameha. They couldn't have defeated the big bad any other way, especially as they had Piccolo holding the bad guy while he did it. So it was literally a case of him using that
like a sniper, pretty much.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can also link that into. There's also a link when you think about it of Goku holding
Raditz. Yeah.
Whilst Piccolo uses a special beam cannon on Raditz.
Yeah.
So there's a flip as well.
Mm.
As a member of the Sun family holds their villain, whilst Piccolo uses the special beam cannon. So there's kind of a link there as well. I don't know if that's intentional, but you could look into it as well.
Maybe.
But I think it was perfect. It was absolutely brilliant, and I think the final, regardless of how you feel about the final villain or anything like that, how they ended it, how they killed him or defeated him or whatever, that was done perfectly.
Yeah,
and I loved it. So no, I think it's a great pick by you. It was my second choice. I think they are both brilliant. I think they're both great picks for Hall of Fame. I don't think anybody who picks either side is wrong in any way, shape, or form.
No, I'll be
fine to wrong choice at all.
Yeah, I'll be fine to lose to the transformation because, again, it was my second favorite moment of the film, and it was a great moment just to see the similar transformation happen again.
I think to be honest, both transformations were brilliant. I loved Piccolo's transformation as well when he fell to the darkness and you saw the Shenron symbol, and then he just explodes in the light as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a pretty good transformation for him as well.
Yeah, it's weird to me because they put so much nostalgia into Gohan's transformation, but Piccolo seems really overshadowed by it. And it's a shame because this is a new form for Piccolo, and Piccolo has never had a new form. And I feel like they could have maybe shifted focus onto that one a bit more than they did. Like, it was nice. It was still a good transformation, but it wasn't even anywhere close to Gohan's, really. They put way more into Gohan's transformation.
I think it was just hard because everyone's been waiting for Gohan's transformation for so long. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame, but it was still good nonetheless, just not on level.
Yeah, I'm just glad he's got one.
Yeah. But anyway, those are the two Hall of Fame nominees this week, so it's going to be a tight one because they're very similar as is anyway. So best moment in the new film, is it Gohan's transformation or is it the special beam cannon? Let us know. There is polls down below in the description. Go vote, and we will find out next week who enters. Well, it's Gohan, but what moment enters the Hall of Fame? But for now, let's move on to the hot take.
Cool.
Hot take.
So this is the Hall of Fame, the final segment of the podcast where we deep dive into the troll posts online to find out what people don't like or really do like that we might disagree with about Dragon Ball. And this week, again, we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Super Heeroh, the new film. So spoilers in advance again. Yeah,
spoilers all the time.
Yeah, again, it's in the title of the video. So if you've clicked on it and you're watching up to this point, then you know there's going to be spoilers by now. Yeah, we have looked online. Well, I looked online and found this take by someone somewhere, and they have said Max Cell is a terrible main villain for the end of the film. As far as main villains go, we were teased in trailers with Cell, and there was a lot of fan-made images of Perfect Cell returning, which would have been nice to see, and a lot of interactions would have been possible between Cell and Gohan, especially if he kept his memories. But instead, we were given the bootleg version of Cell, who is big and screams a lot but doesn't do much else. Feels like a letdown compared to what could have been. So what do you think about that?
I agree. 100% agree.
Yeah.
We've kind of talked about this in our spoiler review that it's a Heeroon 2.0, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
which
I think
it's a shame to say because Heeroon was fine for that film because they didn't need that type of enemy because they introduced a new hero, I guess, in Tapion. And, it was his villain. It was a Trunks film, but Trunks was almost like the side hero in the film to Tapion. This was about Tapion and his past and his enemy. And it was fine that it was a big giant enemy that didn't speak. Whereas here, it just felt like they didn't need to have it be Cell. Like, they're only making it Cell because we know who Cell is. They could have had a giant monster, a giant new android, and it wouldn't have made any difference. But just the fact that it's Cell, it's disappointing because it's not the same Cell.
Well, I mean, people can again say for Broly, all Broly did was shout. Well, no, Broly just didn't shout because there was an entire section of the arc of the film prior where we saw Broly show who he was, and he was this gentle giant, and that he had this power hidden underneath that he couldn't control. And again, so there was exposition prior. So like Tapion, there was exposition prior. There was something before that. Whereas this Cell is literally, first of all, it's semi-perfect Cell. So it's the worst Cell. Yeah. It's the dumbest looking Cell. I hate everything about semi-perfect Cell. It's an awful looking model. I don't know why they chose that one. With his weird face.
The giant lips.
Yeah. Like, they literally they actually make jokes about it in Abridged. Like, it's something they say. Like, the thing is, first form Cell and perfect Cell are so much more intimidating as characters. Like, even in the fan made images and everything, I guess I know they're fan made, and so the film creators don't owe us anything there because that's something we as the fans have done. So they can turn around and say, well, you did that. They were your creations and not ours.
Yeah, but they did that because they teased the pod, which is what Cell originally came out of, and we thought, oh my god, we're getting Cell back again. And everyone would assume it's the same Cell because why wouldn't they? Why would we get Cell 2.0 who's just a goon who doesn't do anything?
Like, why would it be middle Cell? It was either going to be first Cell or third Cell. It's as simple as that. And it would be third Cell because he's the strongest Cell. So if you're going to have the most powerful android, you're going to have third Cell. Yeah. But the two scariest Cells are first Cell or last Cell. Yeah. Yeah. Imperfect or perfect. Because they were just the best looking ones by far. But yeah, and it's like, so there was no ability to interact. He couldn't even talk. There was no reason for him not to be able to talk. That is ridiculous. Why was he just screaming? I don't understand it. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, I don't need a screaming monster after we've had all this really cool build-up. Like, the Gammas were really interesting. I really
like the Gammas.
Loved the Gammas. They were great. Like, Gamma 1 and 2, like, they had such good chemistry. Like, Gamma 2 was just such a great meme. He was a walking meme, and he worked so well against what, like, it would have been interesting for them to both be silly, but the fact that Gamma 1's so serious all the time and Gamma 2's just so dumb all the time plays so well because 1's just like, you're an idiot. And 2's just like, I don't care. And it just plays so well. And then they're obviously very good fighters on top of that. And it just works. And then, of course, the way they fight later, and obviously 2 goes out like a literal superhero. He goes out, he
sacrificing himself.
Yeah, like his sacrifice is so good. His death is just one of the best moments of the film. It's just brilliant. They are fantastic characters, and then you've got this. I don't get it.
I don't get it because I even seen a fan-made picture of a version of Cell, which was like
the white one, the white.
It was like a gold version of Cell, but it was like a fusion of Gamma 1 and Gamma 2.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of he had a lot of gamma features, but you could tell it was Cell as well. And I thought even that would have been better. But
see, now that idea is brilliant. Fuse, like, because there's twins. They're twins. It just makes sense.
yeah,
Because he absorbed 17 and 18. He absorbed two characters to become Perfect Cell.
yeah,
So the joining of two characters, aka fusion, to become Perfect Cell would have made absolutely perfect sense.
yeah.
So I don't know why they didn't go with it.
I feel like they teased us too much with them. You know, our expectations were so high for Cell, or even just so high for a new villain to be the big bad, because we had already seen in the teasers the pictures of Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. We know what they look like. We've seen this pod, and we can only assume this is the main big villain in here. And because it's a pod, and because it's androids and everything else, Cell was the obvious choice. But they didn't need to do that. They should, in my opinion, since they're not going with the same Cell, this is a new version of Cell, they should have not even had Cell at all. Yes, you can have a pod because I guess if you're doing androids and that's how Cell was made, then maybe that's how other androids are made as well. But don't have it be Cell at all. Make a giant monster android who's new, a completely new design, completely new look, and then people wouldn't be disappointed. But because you've even named him Cell, people compare it to other Cell and get let down because it's nothing like original Cell. So it's like, what can you do? They messed up. I think they did mess up with the main villain. They shouldn't have had it be Cell in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think it's really odd because they have kind of toyed with people's expectations in a really weird way. I mean, they knew how people were going to react the entire time.
Yeah. Like, did they expect people to be happy to see this version of Cell?
Especially semi-perfect. Like,
yeah. Like, Cell is a good character. People love Cell, and it's not the same Cell.
Yeah, when people talk about Cell, they don't think of the weird chunky Cell.
Yeah.
Like, the only time you think back to Cell is when you think about when Vegeta let it change into literal perfect Cell. It's the only thing you're waiting for semi-perfect Cell, when to become perfect Cell.
Yeah.
All the memories you have of Cell are of perfect Cell. Why have you got chunky Cell as your final villain?
I mean,
I don't get where the creative writers were going when they thought, let's get Cell involved. And which Cell? The chunky one with the weird lips. It's like, why that one?
I'll be honest. I do like the new attacks that this Max Cell has. Like, I love the purple beams coming out of all of his paws. I thought that was pretty cool. And the death ball thing, even though we didn't see him do anything with it, it was just a ball of energy. I thought that was pretty cool as well. But apart from that, is that really it? Like,
no,
he's got a cool new technique with the purple beams, but just they could have made it like I said, they could have just made a new big android and have him do that. It didn't need to look like Cell.
Yeah. And it didn't even seem to have the same, like, any relative same abilities, because when Gamma attacked him and blew his arm off, he didn't grow it back.
Yeah. So he doesn't have regen, maybe?
No, as far as I can tell, he doesn't have regeneration abilities, which is one of the most important abilities that
Cell has.
Had.
Unless, I guess, he didn't really have time to use it either, because he was being constantly rushed since that point, but still.
Literally, Cell did it in half a second after being
on.
Yeah, he literally did it that quickly.
Yeah.
Like, after he got instant transmission, Kamehameha, after he got his Kamehameha reflected by Gohan, it takes him, like, literally a second.
Yeah, I guess this version of Cell was more robot than he was made up of actual cells, because he had a weak point. You just needed to destroy the head for him to blow up, and that's it. Yeah. Which was similar to the original Android, like 16, 17, and 18, all had bombs inside. Well, yeah, they had bombs inside them, and that was their whole thing, to explode. Yeah. They didn't regen. So this Cell can't regen. He is a robot.
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely an inferior. I mean, to be fair, they did say he wasn't ready yet.
It's true.
But it seemed to be he's not ready yet because he's not fully controllable. Seems to be what it was hinting at. but obviously we don't 100% know because we didn't have the subtitles. We'll find out later in a couple of months' time when the dub comes out. But yeah, I still don't get the choice. I think it was a mistake. I enjoyed the Gammas. I thought the Gammas were fantastic.
Yeah. If it wasn't for them, I think this movie probably would have been a bit of a letdown. But because the Gammas were so good and good new villains-ish, kind of, they were well, they weren't really villains, but they were the ones who put up the good fight scenes, I guess. Yeah. And then just having Cell around, just like, okay, fine, it's a big bad monster, which is fine, but it just didn't need to be Cell.
Yeah. It should have been. I think it would have been more interesting to have something new. Like, I think they should have shown something new. There was no reason for it to be Cell because the semi-perfect Cell meant nothing. It was just pointless.
I think it was a marketing ploy. It's like, we've brought back Frieza before, now we're teasing bringing back Cell. Let's see this other villain that everyone really likes. So I think they did that to boost sales.
Nobody likes semi-perfect Cell.
Exactly.
Like, if you did a poll of the best supervillains in Dragon Ball, and you said and you actually name them all, and you include all the transformations and stuff like that, I can guarantee that he would be near the bottom.
Yeah.
I can guarantee it. I would bet you life savings that form would be near the bottom.
Yeah.
It's just an awful transformation.
I mean, I guess they needed a reason to bring him back, like a thing that makes sense, and bringing him back as an actual android rather than a being is one way of doing it. But also, they just shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have teased it's going to be Cell to get everyone's expectations up high. That was fully just a marketing ploy. Because they even teased Frieza being back, which wasn't true at all. But teasing Cell...
He was actually in the trailers. He was physically in the trailers, and he was nowhere in the film.
Yeah, it was a flashback 2-second picture of Frieza that was shown, and that was it. But yeah, they teased Cell as a marketing ploy, and they shouldn't have done that. They should have made a brand new villain who is fine to be a screamy monster as the main villain. I'm not against a screamy big monster being the end villain. I'm just against it actually being Cell, I guess. Yeah. And that being the tease. It just didn't need to be.
Yeah. Even if they people are saying, oh, well, it wouldn't have made sense for it to be Perfect Cell because why would it have the memories of Gohan? If well, fine, then don't have it as Cell. Yeah. Just don't have it as Cell.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to have Cell, make it the same Cell. Make some sort of reason, like we managed to somehow find a single Cell from the original Cell and we've rebuilt him and he has the memories and stuff. He just needs to be unleashed. And
This is Dr. Giro's grandson. He has the technology link. There'll be a way to bring it in, I'm sure. Yeah. This is Dragon Ball Z science. Or rather, this is Dragon Ball science. I'm sure there's a way.
Exactly.
Come on.
He made the Gammas. He can try and recreate Cell or whatever. But it is what it is. But I think we're both in agreement that, we agree with this take. It shouldn't have been Cell. It was a bit of a disappointment. And that's going to be where we wrap up the podcast. Indeed. So if you have enjoyed it, if you have stuck all the way through to the end, we really appreciate it. And we hope you've enjoyed. And if you have, then please like it up, subscribe down below if you haven't already. Go check out the polls in the description for the Hall of Fame. And other than that, we will see you all next time.
Yeah.